funny to think about someone's like journey when it comes to going to the gym and like the progression, and how when we first start out, it's like you hate taking a rest day. Like I remember just being so bored on rest days. I would just not take rest days early on. You would just dread them so much. And you just felt like going in the gym and having fun on those rest days. And then how that slowly progressed to now, like I honestly appreciate and look forward to my rest days so much. And obviously I love training probably more than I did back then. But the reason that you can just appreciate the rest days so much more is like you actually need them. Like you have earned the fact that you have to rest because you're training. I think it's a combination, right? You obviously like you're training harder, and it's not like you don't think you're training hard at the start, but there's obviously levels to it, and you don't know the next level until you're there. Like if that makes sense, you kind of have to pay your dues and just go through the process, and you kind of just slowly learn that you can take it further and further. And like right now, I feel like I'm doing everything possible, and you believe it so much. But I remember thinking that 2 years ago, and then I'm sure I'll just get better and better at the process. But another part of it that I feel like people don't talk about much, like it gets mentioned, but doesn't get as much attention as I think it maybe deserves, is the fact that when you're early on, you just don't have the actual ability to create as much like fatigue and need to rest because you're just not strong. You just like, even if you just went and did so many sets, it's only so much load and volume that's going through the body, right? Compared to now, like obviously it's all relative. I'm not that strong at some things, but I'm getting decently strong at quite a few different things. So then it's like now 1 or 2 sets on something can actually create like such a recovery demand that you like really earn these rest days. Anyway, I've rested on Thursdays and Sundays for like the last year and a bit, possibly, maybe even 2 years. Oh, that's meal 1, halfway done. What was I saying? And yeah, I love that split of like, I honestly would not want it to change from that. Like I love, the Thursday, Sunday rest day kind of vibe and how that works. So anyway, it's a Sunday today. So I feel like I mention it all the time, but I've obviously been to the gym and done my cardio, because on rest days it's actual cardio, so a higher heart rate, higher intensity, went on the stepper and the treadmill, and didn't do any abs or core, but did quite a bit of mobility this morning, because as my body weight's been going up, lower back has been getting quite stiff and getting those lower back pumps already, which I need to stay on top of, because that can literally become quite a serious roadblock in terms of progression and certain lifts in your sessions. Like I can remember last growth phase, getting to the point where you would start to get a lower back pump at the start of a leg session, and then it's like, if you had to do like, you wouldn't even be able to do standing bicep curls, like that would give you a lower back pump, just kind of creating that brace and that stability. So don't want to get to that point again, for sure. Lost track of what I was saying. Yeah, so rest day, Sunday, back from doing all that. I've had like 2 liters of water already, and like I said, meal 1 is underway. Normally I would make this the day before, so it's like all cold and set and ready to go, but sometimes just to mix it up on a rest day when I have more time, I don't need to go and train after this, I will make it so it's hot. It's like a very rare thing to mix it up, so it's going to be like a hot, well, when I say hot, like warm. I won't let it be boiling. I'll put it in the freezer for a little bit to cool down and then add the frozen berries. Anyway, who fucking cares? But no, there's a lot on today. So today there's Arnold Classic finals. So Classic is already wrapped up, so Wesley won. But the finals is on probably in like an hour or so. And by the sounds, like you hear different commentary. It's so confusing. Obviously, you can see the live stream of the images, and you know that it can't be that accurate. Sorry, it's not as... You have to take it with a grain of salt compared if someone was there live. But then you're hearing like from a lot of people who were there at the show live that like, yep, Nick is clearly in front. And then you hear from some other people that, no, Nick's like third, it's definitely Andrew. I'm kind of hoping for Nick. That's pretty biased. I'm just a fan of him. And just with everything that he's kind of gone through and all the talk, it'd be good to see him get the win. I think that would be really fucking sick. Anyway, so that's on today. And then at 9 a.m, the main card for the UFC starts, which the main event for that is Max Holloway versus Charles for the BMF belt, which that probably won't be on until about 11 a.m. my time here. that's exciting. So I'm going to watch both of those this morning. There's a good sports bar that'll have the UFC on later. It should be in between. I think what I'll do is I'll go down there and watch like the first fights on the card, and then I'll have to come back here to eat my second meal, which should still be before the main event, and then walk back there, and I should make it to watch the main event. So yeah, it's cool having some like little events on a rest day to like fill up my morning. I'll just quickly mention as well, I think in the last vlog, I mentioned how my weight had been stable, and then I had the last 2 days of like, when I talked about it on that vlog, I dropped down like a kilo or something, and it was like 114.9. I think the day after that vlog, or 2 days later or something, no, it was like the day after that vlog, my weight jumped up 1.4 kilos to 116.1. And I'm like, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. And then it stayed there. But composition, I've been really happy with. Like, I feel like I'm getting vascularity returning, and just some hardness kind of returning to the physique that I feel like I lost through all of that tumultuous Bali fucking era that I've yapped on about enough. So yeah, I think I was 115.9 this morning. So right up there around 116. And I don't have any visuals to show. I haven't like checked in or posed recently, but you know, probably better than the last visuals that I showed from last week's check-in. So yeah, things are good. And I'm starting to feel that fatigue I mentioned. It's not like it's gone completely, but I am feeling a bit more energetic throughout the day, and just a bit more willing to get up and do things, and a bit of extra vibrancy and vitality to overall life outside of the gym, which is good. And strength has still been flying. Like there's some, especially for like push, like some chest movements, I'll look at like the rep range, and I've gotten like 1 or 2 reps above the rep range. So I'm like, okay, I'll take quite a decent jump here in terms of load, and then I'll literally match reps still and still be out of that rep range. And I'm doing that like week after week. Yeah, so things are good.
Look at Hardy's abs. I keep going to Hardy, man.
Yeah, his detail is so crisp, mate. He looks so much fuller tonight.
That's the one. You guys know the drill. Post-workout endorphins are hitting, so I can actually be bothered to pick up the camera and talk. And I just thought I'd share like what's currently going through my mind, which is something I'm sure a lot of people know, but it might be relatable, is how when you're like in a fat loss phase and you're quite lean and dry, how you can take quite good like progress pictures of yourself, both in terms of like proper check-in pics, but also just like some nice, you know, selfie mirror pump pics, some vanity selfies. And how like then in like an off season, when you can be like super full, you can like look super good in the mirror with your own eyeballs, and then you like take a photo and it just doesn't transfer. Anyway, that's basically my way of saying like in the gym at the moment, I feel like a monster. Like I'm feeling so fucking full. Like the pumps are like debilitating. I can't like fucking reach. I just feel like I have no mobility. The pump is that crazy. And then I might like try and take like a picture in the mirror, or do some posing with like the camera stuff like for check-ins, and it just like doesn't look anything like how I'm feeling or how I think it looks. But there's probably a lesson here just to like, I'm not letting that affect me. I'm feeling so good about everything at the moment, my training, and I'm just not tying my happiness and my perception of progress and how well I'm executing on everything by like how photos are turning out, if that makes sense. Anyway, I guess maybe if there's another lesson here, it's that in the past, that transition from like fat loss to off-season growth phase, I've struggled with, because you go from like every day, your metric for progress, success is like body weight going down, new detail. And then you've kind of been conditioning yourself mentally without really realizing for months and months, and then that just switches one day. And struggled in the past with that, but handling it super well this time, where it's like not really a factor at all. I'm just kind of like embracing the softer, fuller, fluffier, like bear mode of like a growth phase, and feeling really good about it and feeling so strong. Like, I think I mentioned this in the last little clip of whatever this vlog's going to become, but yeah, just it makes training so fun, because you don't slip into that like anxious feeling of like, oh my God, I need to progress, need to add a tiny bit of weight here or get an extra rep. And when it's like when you're not so sure it's going to happen, that can kind of wear on you. And it's like, and then if it doesn't happen, can mentally affect the rest of the session. But when it's like for my very first set, I just take like a big, massive progression, and I kind of was leaving some in the tank for further weeks. It's just like, training's fun. Life's good. That aircon's not fucking working well, because I just walked back in my room and it's not cold as it should be. Anyway, cream of rice time. Yeah, I'll pick up the camera whenever I feel positive enough to do it. Like, I'm happy, right? I'm feeling great mentally and everything throughout my day, but I just don't feel like picking up the camera very often and using words and forming sentences. That's like a rare occurrence. So whenever I feel like doing that again, I will speak to you. And God, my arm is getting sore from holding up the phone, as you can probably see. All right, boys and girls, another week down, another week of growing done. You have to excuse, I've got the washing machine on in the background. Now, I woke up at 116.8 kilos this morning. So that's pretty good. Can't just flex that's the highest weight that I've had this like growth phase so far, but I can't just flex that. So the average weight so far this week has been 116.4, just been steadily climbing up still. I think I mentioned in the last video that I thought it would kind of level off and stabilize, but no, it's just been climbing. And I'd say it's largely just due to that cycle still kicking back in. Like, I do need to remember that I think I've only been back from Bali 3 weeks tomorrow. So that's when all that kind of came back in. So I've got some notes here in front of me that I'm looking at, by the way, so I don't get too far off track. But my average weight at the start of the growth phase 5 weeks ago was 110.4. So the average weight is up 6 kilos in 5 weeks, and composition is still quite good. I'll put up some pictures from check-ins yesterday. I won't do the full fucking run through of posing and photos in the worst lighting like I did in that last video. I'll just probably show some favorable shots this time. But you can see that, yeah, things are still in pretty good nick, and I'm just feeling, yeah, like I'm pretty happy. What am I trying to say? Across like a space of 1 year, there's going to be plenty of times where we're, as bodybuilders, we're not really happy with the visuals, and you kind of have to just keep doing the process regardless of that. But it is good to have those times where you feel good about them. But it always is funny, right? Because I look back, I have looked back in the past, right, and seen like stuff when I was on Instagram and the posts I was making, and I can remember at the time that I posted them, must have felt so confident and happy with the look, and because it was like an all-time best at the time. And you're posting up these images, and I look back at them now, and or not now, but when I was on Instagram and I've looked back in the past, I can remember looking back and thinking, how on earth did I have the confidence to post that? You look like shit. Why did you think that looked good? So I feel like I look good now, and then in like a year or less, who knows, I'll look back and be like, what the fuck? But that's the beauty of it. And yeah, in my last growth phase, I just went and looked back, and the highest weekly average weight that I actually reached was 116.8. I think I had some weigh-ins in the morning in the 117s, but the actual highest weekly average was 116.8. So if this week carries on at this same kind of trajectory, we're looking at like being a few days, like a week away from being at my all-time heaviest and in far better composition. So that's pretty exciting. And have to remember as well, that was on, when I reached that weight in that last bulk, that was on 5,000 plus calories. And I'd been on that consistently for like, for months. So to be about to hit that on only 4,000 calories is super exciting, because there's like so much runway still to go, which is good. I'd love to come on here and just say all positive things and say everything is perfect with the process. I am getting a few little niggles from training. My elbows nothing major, nothing to the point that it's actually even affecting like my ability to train or my ability to progress, but I am just feeling my elbows feeling a little bit like achy and brittle, especially not even on pushing movements. It's actually on pulling movements on pull day. And it's funny because, well, it's not funny, but trying to like figure out and decipher what is causing it. People could be probably too quick to jump to conclusions if you feel pain on a certain movement. And look, the body is so complex. Like this could just be the accumulative effect of lots of different little things across all my movements, or, you know, there could be a main culprit that's causing it, but I don't feel it on that day, and then it's manifesting in other days that I'm feeling it. And there could just be the case where it could be that my alignment in pressing and stuff is off and I need to be fixing things. That could, of course, be the case. So I will be looking at that a bit closer. But it could just be like I am doing things as good as I can. And it is just that accumulative effect of like I'm getting quite strong. And obviously like the joints and ligaments aren't quite as adaptive and quick to progress as my strength is. So yeah, it's nothing major, but I will just keep my eyes on it. And other than that, just feeling a bit beat up through my hips, and like my lower back's just still so locked up. Like I mentioned this, that it happened like on the flight back from Bali 3 weeks ago, where I always, from sitting on the plane, I just get so fucking locked up, and it just hasn't really gone away since, despite my best efforts at stretching and doing like some lateral flexion of the spine and stuff, like in mobility, and just I can't quite get it to unlock. And once again, it's not affecting my ability to progress and train yet, but like leg day yesterday, I definitely did like on my single leg hip press, like single leg press movement, I did feel the difference from previous weeks in terms of how that movement felt. And then especially I felt the discrepancy from my left to my right side. So yeah, got to keep on top of that. That's one thing I definitely do miss about Australia, is I had a really good physio. I'll shout him out, Malcolm, at Build Physio on the Goldie. And I was seeing him like 2-3 times a week, and he's super, super smart and intelligent. And we would kind of have like some good dialogue together and workshop like what could be causing things, and look at where I might have a deficit in range of motion or flexibility that could be leading to further issues. And he was really good at treating these issues as they popped up. So I do miss having that. But yeah, guys, hopefully that is all the updates that you need. I think I've rambled on a bit in two other days on this vlog, but this is kind of like the portion where I just do the update of how things are going bodybuilding wise. Yeah, got my check-in back, and yeah, no changes to food, obviously, with the weights climbing. Coach just told me, yeah, kind of like a rinse and repeat week. Just keep pushing on. 2 weeks till I go back to Australia. So that first week back in Australia will kind of serve as a bit of a deload from training. The exact specifics I don't know yet, but I think there'll probably be an extra rest day or two in there that week, just because of commitments that I'll have, and then training on different kit is kind of like a deload in itself, because you're just not really going to be pushing yourself as hard. So that'll, in terms of like these joint niggles and stuff that are starting to accumulate, I do have that deload kind of coming up, which will serve me well. All right, guys, we might wrap this one up here. Thank you for everyone that's been commenting and showing your support on the videos. I really appreciate it. I've been pretty happy with myself staying consistent with these. And I'm not good at saying this cringy stuff, but I'll just plug it, don't forget to like the video if you did like it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, comment any questions and anything you want to see. And I'll chuck it in the next vlog. Ooh, I've just started to get the little tingles of going a little bit hypo, because I am quite behind on having my second meal. Anyway, fuck, I don't know what I'm fucking yapping about. You guys don't need to know this. I'm going hypo. It's either hypo or I had too much coffee. I'll see you guys in the next one.